Hello again everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are flying into Chambery, another difficult approach in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. If you're new, do click that subscribe button down below, join us as a frequent flyer, and to the regular viewers, so a very warm welcome back to all of you. If you like the video today, then do click on the like button down below as well, give us a little thumbs up. So we're in the Fly UK A32NX, making our way in to Chambery via Geneva, which is a little bit ahead of us. And ordinarily, if we were coming in from the UK, we would be flying in most likely via Salève. So Cat A, B and C arrivals, and Salève 9 Alpha, Papa Quebec 9 Alpha arrivals. That's the one that we're using today in this example. And there are various waypoints for us to bear in mind. Different speed restrictions, altitude restrictions, etc. But we've also got the Chambery VOR, which is 115.4 there, and multiple published holds in the chart too. So lots of things to be considering. On the next page, we've got all of our missed approach details here, of course. ILS frequency for the ILS Zulu runway 18. And we can see it displayed on the charts here, including the 109.5 there. Chambery VOR at the top, and of course CH, which is a DME down at the bottom, due south of the airport. And you can see there we've got some glide slope information, including a 4.46 degree glide slope descent angle, which is actually quite steep. We'll be flying in using this ILS initially, and then we'll be breaking off to the circle to land procedure. So 2 miles away from the airport, breaking off 135 degrees. We need to break off. We'll fly for 2.6 miles to our downwind leg, which is at Point Bravo, heading 175. So breaking off at Point Alpha, which is here, 135 degrees, and then flying for 2.6 miles to our downwind leg, flying that category C downwind leg all the way down to here, and you can see at max 150 knots we're then having to make a turn in point C just before that NDB, and then straight in for landing runway 36. You can see there we've got an MDA at Point Alpha, and that's 1,880 category C aircraft after the ILS approach, which is what we're using, but same if it was a lock approach too. The beauty is with the ILS is we actually get a 3,000 meter RVR, so we can use this with slightly less visibility. And if we have a bulk landing at the runway, turn right to rejoin Point Bravo for another approach attempt. So breaking off 135 down to a downwind leg, point B, flying downwind 1,880 foot at that point, making that base turn, and a very short finals for the landing. So quite a tricky one. You can see all this terrain as well that's around that we need to bear in mind, and in the sim we're very unlikely to have all the visual reference points like this hazard beacon and things. Unless we've got bespoke scenery, it's very unlikely we're going to be able to see any of that. So let's go ahead and, as we're making good progress in, let's go ahead and make sure everything's in the aircraft ready to go. Just about to hit our decel points, let me activate approach phase and slow the aircraft down a little bit. And you can see I've already configured our approach data, performance page with our MDA and also the current weather. We're in live weather again, of course, so that's all in there ready to go, 340 at 9 degrees. On the RadNav page we can see 109.5 of our ILS DME for runway 18, but we also want to put in our NDB of 346 and the Chambery VOR of 115.4, and that's everything that we're going to need. Colo's our initial approach fix, and we can see that's there. And we need to be at Colo, which is for the ILS Yankee, but the Sims put it in anyway. but we need to be at Colo at 6,500 feet. So down we go. Let's put the ADF and VOR on. Just remind myself of which one's it. So it's the opposite direction. Good. Of course it is. There we go. In fact, activated approach phase as well. So let's do the cruel call. And it's 2,000 metre runway, so we'll use medium auto brake. We want to arm the spoilers as well, of course. And we're actually getting fairly close. Let's put LS mode on. Once again, another fantastic approach in, really scenic in the sim. So 14.7 DME, 6,500 foot, and 4.46 degree glide slope. So quite a steep approach. Bleeding off all the speed early is going to be key for this one, and increasing drag on the airframe by using things like gear and good flat positions. We might be vectored as well by ATC, so we can bear that in mind. They might tell us to descend 6,000 foot, for example, so we're a couple of hundred foot below the glide slope itself. We've got multiple things on our nav display there. If we go onto the ILS mode, magenta line is the ILS, the single white arrow is the Chambery VOR directly ahead of us, and the CHNDB, which is the green arrow. So we know the airport is off in that direction somewhere. Let's go flaps 1. And arm lock mode. The localizer's just armed itself, so making our turn. And we're starting to get that vertical guidance come in as well on the nav display and the PFD. 18 miles. So still got a little way to go before we start to descend. The aircraft is working to align itself already. Steep descent, so just before we do, I'll go into flaps 2 at the very least. .5. So as a reminder on the charts, we want to make sure that we are turning 2 miles, 135 degrees out for that category C wider sort of downwind leg. And then at 3 DME, so 3 miles away from the localizer, that's when we should be triggered into turning on our base leg. Looking at things like roads down below as well might be able to help us, but it all depends on the scenery we've got. And this one's not authorised at night apparently. You can see we've passed the Chambery VOR, that needle's gone off to the right side, so the Chambery VOR's over there somewhere on our 3 o'clock. 13 miles. At around about 11.5 to 12 miles we should start to see the glide slope come in, and in fact there it is now, 12 miles, it's starting to drop down for us. Flaps 2. And remember, it's a 4.46 degree glide slope, so quite a steep one. And the speed could quite easily run away from us. So just as the nose starts to come down, I will likely, as the aircraft settles, I'll probably put it into flaps 3. Remember to arm the approach mode, as I've just forgotten to do. Use a little bit of speed brake to help us. Go flaps 3. Hopefully that should be enough to start bleeding the speed off. But if not, we'll use gear. 8.9 miles, which is now, wanted to be at 5,000 foot, so slightly high still. And we want to be 1,880, so it's about 1,900, isn't it? Basically. Gear down. Let's get rid of the terrain radar. We go track FPA mode. Let's turn the flight directors off. There's the runway ahead. 6.4. We can now probably just slowly bring that speed brake back in and arm it again. So let's prepare for our turn. .9. So I've armed manual heading select now. At 2 miles, so we're coming up now at 3 miles away. It's quite a tight one. 2 miles, almost there. We want to be turning 135, so let's come into that turn now, 135. So braking off. Levelling off at 1,900. Great scenery.
100 above.
There goes the airport down below. And we want to keep going until this, we're looking at the map, until we're level with the road. Quite a main road. So it's going to be that one going off that direction. In fact, it's the train lines, that's it. There we go, lovely. So we can see that. Let's turn to follow the train lines. 175 degrees. There's the airport down below. Let's go full flaps. and that's where the hazard beacon will be, that point of danger that everybody's the charts refer to. But we're looking for that 3 DME arc, so at 2 miles now, and then we're making that base turn, very short finals. .5. No blue on the ECAM. Look how close we're getting to this terrain. 2.7. 3. And turning.
Minimum. 500. 400. 300.
See how low we're getting to this bit of terrain on the hill. And the weather's obviously affecting us as well. There's the airport. Point C was where the river meets a railway line, although it's sort of a bit too late to look for that now. It's pretty much down here somewhere anyway. And I've come in a little low, so I've been flying a little bit level for the turn. It's quite tricky in the sim not being able to really see where you're going. You can't just look out the window and bend.
300.
Got a full-on crosswind now. There's only 3 knots.
5.
Down. Decel. It's quite a tricky one. It's very similar in style to Innsbruck, with the right turn and the terrain getting in the way, that higher up bit of terrain on that downwind leg. But you don't need quite the same rate of descent that you do at Innsbruck. So let's disarm the speed brake. Let's bring those flaps in. Classic Sobo autogen airport with tiny taxiways. So there we go. A little bit low on the way in, of course. My bad. I could have held the level a little bit longer or reduced my rate of descent, but give it a good go yourself. Let me know how you get on in the comments below. And if you want to get started with a virtual airline, then check out flyuk.aero. And be sure to tune in for a live stream in the very near future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.